really, really loud?
It's not ridiculously loud. I mean,
Okay.
it depends on where you're sitting. We're in a general admissions, at least we were this year, and so it wasn't contained. So not terribly loud, but exciting. Talking about being part of the mix. Love it. Love it. Hey, we're back. Digital Ramblers, how are ya? Episode 149. I mean, I cannot believe we are here. Today's episode is about how to voice control your lighting system. Kris Gamble, how are you, my good friend?
Hey, when you say JJ 149, episode 150 is coming up faster than Verstappen on turn 11.
No
You know,
doubt.
you've just seen it up close. Tell me, I've seen it on your hat, Circuit of the
All
Americas.
right. All right.
You had a great time there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's episode 149's chasing episode 150 like Hamilton. I don't know. It'll never catch up. It'll never catch up. Red Bull's way out in front. Now, man, this past weekend we were out at Circuit of the Americas in Austin and just had a fantastic time. I was out there with my good friend Ken, and he's over with the Premier Group. Just amazing. If y'all are over, I think he's over in Ohio, and if you're over in the Ohio area, check out the Premier Group. They have an incredible showroom. And we
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, there you go, Indianapolis. And then we were also hanging out with Joseph with Screen Innovations, and just had an amazing time, man. Do it every year.
Yeah, no, you said the 3 years now you've been going to that, and you probably experienced more Formula One than most people. So I'm going to call you the F1 expert now.
No, definitely not. Don't even.
Right. Well, let's stick to lighting and voice control, which I feel we are experts, or certainly more evolved than most in controlling lighting with your voice.
All right.
And the reason we wanted to zone in more on lighting with voice control, and we've talked about voice control a lot, and it's a broad subject with the various home control options using your voice. But for me, lighting is, first of all, it's one of the kind of poster boy, poster girl features of voice control. Control your lights with your voice. It's always been a big kind of draw. But it's also one of the things I see getting done quite badly with incorrect naming, badly by still not incorporating lighting scenes, badly because people have not, fully brought in all the lighting in their home. They're maybe only just controlling one system when they don't realize they control multiple systems with voice, and have them all on one platform. And during the prep for the show, we talked about Logitech being a bit of a void now of being a control system. But actually, what we're finding as businesses is the control systems are already there, but they're voice control systems.
Yeah, Gamble. I think on this episode we're going to drop a lot of kernels of information, a lot of nuggets, a lot of seeds that is going to start getting people to have some ideas, and really maybe have some aha moments of, oh my goodness, I actually have a control system right here on my kitchen countertop that I could actually put to good use. So I think here in episode 149, Gamble, we're going to be talking about the why. Why would you want to use voice control for lighting? What what can I do with voice control lighting? Because all I can think of is turn on my kitchen. Like if that's all it can do, maybe I can not explore it, And where can I use this? And so I think, those types of three avenues of conversation, episode 149 is going to be a fantastic episode. Maybe something that you might want our listeners, or something our listeners might want to forward over to some of their friends. And speaking of that, if you are interested in other episodes of the Digital Ramble, please check us out at digitalrambleshow.com. You can also check us out on 11 different podcast streaming services. And if you want to get in touch with the show, just hit us up at digitalrambleshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, JJ, I'm ready to get into this. So instead of pushing the button, why don't we ask for the button?
Button push. we didn't want to use Alex A. Yeah, let's be sure we use Alex A today and not the other word.
Yeah, no, we know what can happen. You could trigger lots of lights and wake up children and turn on televisions and increase volume, and that is part of maybe the fear of voice control. Is if I do it incorrectly, something might happen. You're out of control. Whereas a push button, you push it once, there's a result. You push it again, typically reverses the result of what you did initially, on off. Whereas lighting can, if you get the name wrong, if you get the brightness level wrong, if you get the scene wrong, it can knock your confidence of using voice. And this is where, as a business, we take a lot of time coaching our customers with the use of voice. We create a little idiot's guide to voice control that we print out, and it lists the room names, it lists some of the scenes, so they start to use it, because the reasons for voice control are huge. So give me a good why you would use voice control, JJ.
Gamble, I'm going to give you a good why. And what's very interesting is who's really embracing this category. You think something voice control is, George Jetson and super futuristic, and it is. And it's accessible. Not necessarily not only accessible like voice, like, hey, I can say something, but it gives somebody accessibility. All right. And so whenever I'm talking about who the demographics of who's really embracing this, it's the older generation. It's the older community. I have a client that called me the other day, and he's like, Jay, you know what? My parents, I love them to death, but they have a new home. And in this home, it's a 4-story home. And so they have an elevator, so there's that ease of access of going up and down. But whenever Amazon or somebody rings the doorbell, how can I get, how can they communicate with that person? Or if they want to turn the lights on downstairs, how do they do that? Or if they want to open the garage, how can they do that? And so we started talking about accessibility and using voice control with select items to do that. And you did touch on voice control, and there are different options. There's Alex A, there's Google. You also have Siri. One of my favorites is a custom product in our industry, which is Josh AI, which makes an absolutely gorgeous solution. And there's some other voice controls out there as well that aren't as expandable, but those are probably for our industry, Gamble, probably the four heavy hitters that are doing it correctly. And when somebody wants to go with voice, I also want to encourage people to make a choice and stick with that choice, because whenever you start building programs and macros and different control systems, things might start happening unbeknownst to you, and you don't know where it happened. So make a choice. Like, if it's going to be Alex A, go Alex A. If it's going to be Siri, go Siri. If it's going to be Google, go Google. If it's going to Josh, go Josh.
Yeah, because the reality for most people, they've got the voice assistant already. So pretty much your cell phone, your mobile telephone is probably running on Android or iOS. Yeah. I don't know if many people are rocking a Windows phone at the moment, but you're going to have either Google or Siri. So straight out of the box, the product's already in your pocket. Now, we're assuming that you've made some purchase of smart lighting. So let's just imagine you've invested in some smart bulbs, smart switches, smart plugs, maybe a smart lighting control system, but you want to enable voice. So the best kind of first step for me is when I say, what's in your pocket? Oh, I've got a Samsung. Oh, I've got an iPhone 14. Right. Straight away, I think the best voice assistant is the product in your pocket. So that's a big decision factor. So then you start, because they're familiar with that ecosystem. So you're not giving them something too radical. Whereas sometimes I feel Amazon Alex A can be sometimes a technical step too far for some people, and that's fine. You might need to coach them further and encourage them more and bring them into that. And I'm going to give you a reason why I think Amazon can be a better bet than the other two. But for getting somebody up and running, if you've got an Apple iPhone, you've got the Apple Home app. That is the platform that you introduce your lighting system to the Apple Home app. You give the lights room names, you give the lights names. So, for example, kitchen downlights, bathroom spotlights, ensuite mirror, exterior porch. So you give tags on all these lights. Then when you use Siri, whether it's you summon it with its name or you press and hold the button or you've got a HomePod speaker or an iPad, you just say, Siri, turn on kitchen lights, turn on kitchen spotlights, dim kitchen spotlights to 10%. You've actually had to do very little programming. All you've had to do is give things recognizable names and names for the lights, room name and light name. Once you've set that up, you can set a level, 100% to 0, on or off if it doesn't dim, open, close if it was a shade or a curtain. And for me, you immediately take away the friction of keypads, the expense of keypads. You could go voice in areas to limit the amount of keypads that are screwed to the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what a lot of clients are kind of going towards, because depending on how you build those voice controls, you can create scenes essentially doing exactly what a keypad is doing. So back to the accessibility for our clients. Let's say you have a client. We use a lot of lighting, Gamble, for security in our projects, and usually when we're talking about lighting control, we're starting from the outside in. And almost all the solutions that we're providing, we really look for the security aspect of that particular product. And with voice, if anybody is at home and they are woken up in the middle of the night, you can do motion as an option, or you could also do a voice control. And through voice control, you can say, Alex A, turn on the security lights, or Alex A, turn on the lights. And it can turn on all the perimeter lights with a voice control immediately, all 10 of your perimeter lights, as well as the one on the detached garage out at the property if you have it. So you could do that with all one manufacturer, which I highly encourage doing. So if you're using Lutron for your control system, stay with Lutron. If you're using Philips, stay with Philips. If you're using another system that works well for you, then stick with that system. If not, and you have a collage of lighting systems, the chances of that working together in a cohesive manner are probably likely, but managing it on the backside can be really clunky. So can it be done? Absolutely. Is it ideal? No, not at all.
Yeah, no, this is where your chosen voice platform is an aggregator for multiple brands of lighting. And within, if I stick to Apple Home, you can create a lighting scene. Now, a scene is the ability to control multiple lights with either a single button press, a single app press, or summon it via voice or schedule it. So a scene is the economy of collating dozens of potential lights and creating a fixed preset for multiple lights. Now, like JJ said, you could have Philips garden lighting, Philips smart bulb in your porch, a Lutron dimmer doing your entrance hall lights, a Lutron dimmer doing your table lamps in your lounge. You could have another brand, like Lifex or Nanoleaf. They could be doing some color changing lights because that's what they're very good at, like RGB colored lighting. And your voice platform, whether it's the Amazon, the Google, or the Apple version, will be able to group them, and you could have a scene called turn on date night, turn on nighttime, turn on alert, turn on good night. You can group those together, and that efficiency and saving that you've not had to actually purchase a heavyweight price tag control system on top of that, which people will try to sell you, and there are benefits of that. But if you don't want to go down that route and you want to self-manage and you want to know exactly what's connected into your system and who can see into your system, because look at Apple Home again, highly secure smart home control system. I would question some other control systems on security, not the product, but the installer. And that's a controversial one. Installers have a lot of access to people's homes, and I don't think customers are aware of that. But that's for another episode.
Gamble, the other thing is that this is honestly something that a homeowner can do on their own. I mean, I highly encourage our listeners to try and do this. You will not mess anything up. Nothing will blow up. There won't be any smoke that comes out of the Control Alt Delete button push, or nothing like that at all. So I encourage you to try to program maybe a smart switch that you might have there at your house into some type of voice control device. But if it's something that you want to do and it sounds challenging, then seek out a home technology professional, and they definitely can put together something very simple and easy to do. Or if you want something a lot more structured and expansive, that can equally be done as well.
Yeah, I think where voice control has been widely adopted is where people have gone through it in a DIY fashion, that they've controlled a table light or controlled a light, one light fitting in the house. So dining room chandelier, kitchen spotlights. It's when you start to, and this is where your admin, your housekeeping's got to be good. When you start adding multiple rooms, multiple names for lights, this is where, going back to basics, writing things down for that initial few days when you've got multiple lights to control, you've not fully understood the option to create scenes and schedules. Voice can quickly tie you up in knots if you don't approach it in a logical manner. And it's probably why our industry likes it, because it's techy, it's programmy, it's logical. And for the homeowner who just wants to get the thing working, they often let it slip later in the timeline of their smart home that, I've just not got on top of voice because now I've added 30 products. I'm just not in control of it. But trust me, put some time back into it and get that time back with the efficiencies you'll get with voice control.
Yeah. Sometimes, depending on the size of the solution, it can get frustrating. And by the time you get to that final 5%, because honestly, voice is the last of the layers to be added once you get everything put in. And so sometimes you're frustrated by then. And Gamble, you touched on one thing is the vocabulary. There's a portion of the setup to where you have to be very detailed in the vocabulary for it to work easily. So there is some patience that is definitely necessary with voice control, at least in the more affordable ones. The ones like straight out of the box, you can pretty much voice whatever kind of command, and out of the box, Josh is going to understand it. You do not have to do any kind of extensive creativity. And in the sense, you might say, turn on the TV or watch TV, or I'd like to watch TV. There's 10 different ways you can say, turn on the television. And when you're using more budget products, you have to be very detailed in those 10 different ways of how to say turn on the television. So there are minute understandings and details to voice control that really make it 5-star. Whenever you're average, quick, set it up, it's a great 2-3 star product. But when you take the time to set up a budget voice control system, it really can be a 5-star system if you know what you're doing, if you understand how to put those phraseologies together. It's a great system, but be patient. Start out with 1 or 2 and then expand upon your system. And if it's something that you like and you feel that it might be just a little bit too time invested for you, don't hesitate to seek out a pro, and somebody will come by and definitely hook that up for you and probably give you all kinds of other cool ideas that you can do with voice control as well.
Yeah, I do. I genuinely think it can be quite daunting if you're adding more than 2 or 3 lights to your voice assistant. I've seen it when I've added a new system. It's searched for new devices. So say, for example, I'm using Amazon. I'll go to the Alexa app. I'll search for the skill. Let's use Lutron. I'll type in Lutron, enable the skill. It will then push me to Lutron to enter my login, username, and password. Then it will say, we've discovered your hub at this address. You might have multiple hubs under that account, but say we've found one house, and it'll pull in, for example, 40 devices found. Now, it could be that it's 30 dimmers and 10 scenes, for example. So it pulls in scenes also as devices. So it might think like, whoa, I don't have 40, I've only got 30. No, it just pulls in lots of information from the app. So that immediately the scenes are available. Turn on date night, turn on relaxed, turn on cooking. The other ones are the lights, and it might just list them, a whole bunch of lights: bedroom 1, spotlights, bedside lights, overhead spots, bedroom 1, bathroom, bath lights, toilet light, shower light, and it's that is where it's difficult, because you've got to go through each light, add to a group. A group is a room. I don't think the terminology they use is great, but I've got used to it. I can see why it's daunting for a homeowner. Add that to bedroom 1, add that to master bedroom, add that to kitchen, add that. And you allocate all these devices to rooms. That means further along the chain, you can say, turn off master bedroom lights. That will turn off the 3 or 4
lights,
dimmers, But that's where I think it's not as logical as an app. And this is where the app still has the edge, but I really want voice to overtake the app, because I truly believe voice is the universal platform that the house needs. It's more intuitive than an app, because we don't always have a touchscreen with it. It's more intuitive than a keypad, because there could be access issues. There could be, mobility, accessibility, awareness of where those keypads are.
Mm-hmm.
The keypad might just have engravings of little icons. What does that mean?
Right. Right. The go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go for it.
One thing about voice control, and I get a question about it all the time, Gamble, is security. And if I had these devices listening, for wake words, is it secure? And I agree. And I don't know why there's more security with your mobile device that you carry with you in your pocket than there might be with a device that's sitting on top of your countertop that you plug in. Because very easily you can ask Siri to do with their wake words anything that you can ask Alexa or Google to do. And so as far as security, and using Amazon A to control your lights and is it listening? Yeah, definitely it's listening, and it's listening for the wake words to do a command. Just like your phone is listening for a wake word to do whatever command you might want it to do, whether it's an Android phone like a Google Assistant like I have on my phone, or if it's Siri's Assistant like you might have on an iOS phone.
Yeah, that the wake word is important, and you can change the wake word in some systems. I know from Alexa, you can change it to things like computer, Amazon. In Google, you can say okay or hey. Same with Siri, and just one voice control, nothing to do with lighting. But just to ask JJ, have you used Sonos voice control yet?
I haven't.
We use it.
Oh
We use
yeah.
it at home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we use it as a local voice assistant. But that's something we'll look at again. But it just reminded me of other voice platforms. Actually, our favorite music system has its own voice platform. Will that one day be a smart home platform? Who knows? It certainly could go in that direction.
No, we enjoy using voice control. My wife, along with the lighting system, that the lighting system was the first thing she asked if we were putting into our new place. The second thing was voice control, which I thought was very surprising, but she actually used it quite often, and the kids used it as well. Just ease of access, although the light switch literally is right inside the doorway, but creating a wake word of Alex A, we're home, not only turned on the foyer light, but also created a pathway of light for everybody to go into their, to the corridors, the hallways, the stairways illuminate whenever we announce that we're home. And so, it is accessible. It is an accessibility edition for older people, but I also see all ages using it, and I think it's just going to become more of the normal or acceptable. And sometimes it's like I remember Gamble saying, "Why do I need an iPad? I mean, why do I need to sell somebody an iPad to control their system?" And it's sometimes that arm twisting that it takes, being forced into it. Not that I'm forcing my clients to take voice control by any means, but sometimes you have to be dragged into it before you really get that. Okay, now, okay, I get it. And would you ever do without it? And the likelihood is not, unless something better comes along.
So I think also we underestimate how many voice assistants are around the home. We talked about Sonos. They've got speakers with voice assistants and microphones built in. You can choose their one, Google, Amazon. You've got thermostats with the voice assistant built in. You've got light switches. Is it Oro?
Oro's fantastic product. Yeah.
It's got that. You've got
Brilliant's also got something.
Yeah. You've got their own proprietary screens that they have, the Echo Shows, the Google Home Assistants that have either a screen or they're just smart speakers. And I think if you put them in the right places, especially when things are built into soundbars, television remote controls, you can start to limit the amount of keypads and touchscreens. And if it's set up correctly, you can also be contextual. So if I say turn off the lights, it only turns off the lights in that room, because it knows it's the living room soundbar. So if you've said that, you're not going to turn off the lights in the utility room. So it knows where you are and controls the lights in that room. So you've really got to dive into it. Consult the pro if you don't know, but you can understand this, but it just takes a little bit of time investment. You've already got the control system in your pocket.
Yeah. Digital Ramblers, I want to encourage you, go to your phone, look at that voice control that's already built in there. Take a look at what devices that it can control. You might be very surprised to see that there's something in your house that you could actually voice control. It might be as simple as your thermostat, to where you say, Alex A, turn the climate up, because it's kind of getting chilly outside. or turn it down because it's getting a little warm. If you're down in Texas, it don't matter what time of the year it is. But I want to challenge y'all and send us some information. Send us some comments. Let us know. Did you find something that worked cool for you? Is there something that you're using voice control that's unique to your experience? Because I want to know about it. Gamble wants to know about it. And the digital ramblers that listen to the show want to know about it. All right, friends. Until next time, if you don't know, find yourself a home tech pro.
Good. Well done. That was actually a tough episode because we had to stick to lighting.